All right, so from what we did last, do you have any question? Did you practice it? I hope you understood everything. Today we are going to look at a very important feature in Microsoft Excel that is very useful to data analysts, right? And that feature is called conditional formatting, found in Styles Ribbon Group under Home Ribbon tab. This is the one I'm talking about here. So it is very important in that it applies formatting such as colors, icons, data bars, to cells or range of cells based on specific conditions or rules. So it enables users to, visually highlight or important trends from data, important patterns, important outliers in data, right? So making it easier to analyze such data sets. So it has a lot of benefits. And some of those benefits include visualizing or data visualization, quick decision making, error detection, like improved data insight, and then you'll be able to customize your data. So it's a very quick tool that we can use to quickly see what is happening in a given data set. It gives data clarity, it is efficient, and then it also allows us to get actionable insights from data, and also helps us to focus on particular areas of data that we may have outliers or trends. So without wasting much time, we are going to just look at it and see what we can learn from it. So this is it right here. So how do we use it? If I click and drop down, there are rules. Here, you can see from highlight cells rules, greater than, less than, between, equal to, text that contains a date occurring, and then duplicate values. So there are a lot of things that can be done here. Let's just quickly start and see what we can do. So for example, we have a data set here. We have order number, date, due date, name, gender, country, unit price, discount, and then revenue column. So all those are the fields in this data. And then we have about 50 records in this data set. If I select this data, this column, sorry, and I want to see numbers that are greater than a particular number, say 10,000, you can see that all these ones that are highlighted in red are greater than 10,000. That's a quick overview to tell you that, look, the revenue we got from Ricardo G, David D's, and that all the names that are here, that you have their data highlighted with red color or red background, that those ones, we have revenue that are greater than 10,000 from them. If I increase it to 20,000, you can see that these guys are the top guys whose revenue are more than 20,000. So we just have a quick overview on what is happening in this data. If you don't like the red color, because actually red color is supposed to go for revenues that are less, you can change it here. Could be green, could be anyone here. We have green field. So if I select it, these are the top guys that have given revenues that are more than 20,000. Right? I can click my OK here. So right now, looking at this data, the revenue that we've gotten from this data set, quickly you can know that these people are the highest people. The revenues generated by these people are higher than 20,000. In the same vein, if I want to see the revenue of those that are less than 10,000, those ones can be highlighted with red color, right? You click here, OK. So assuming that all these names were your employees, and at the end of the month, you want to see the ones that are performing well and the ones that are not performing well. This is a quick way to find out. And then from here, you can ask questions. Why were you not able to, generate revenue and so on? So this will give you an overview of what is happening. Those that are working very hard, to bring in revenue to the company. The same way, you can also get those that are in between right here. So if I say, okay, let me get those that are in between 15,000 and 19,900. And I will give them maybe a yellow highlight. When I click my OK, you can see that these guys are in between, right? 15,000 to 20,000. So I've just shown us the first three. And we also have equal to. So the equal to will work exactly as these other ones. For example, if I want to check the discount that is equal to 10 among or in this column, I can just highlight it and then I click my equal to. Next thing I have to type is 10. Give me that highlight on maybe light, or I can customize it, right? I can customize it and then I come to fill here and take another color. Say maybe this color, or I can go for more colors and then make it lighter so that the visibility of the data will be there. So I click OK and then click my OK. You see that those ones that are exactly equal to 10 are highlighted. I hope that is understood. The next one right there is text that contains. So if I come to where I have text, say country, and I highlight that colon and go to my conditional formatting, I say text that contains maybe USA, but make sure that that colon has that text that you want to type here. It could be India, it could be China. So if I type China here, it will highlight China. And you can give it any color that you want. You can let me go to custom format again. And I will take maybe light blue and click OK. And then confirm it by clicking OK. Can you see what's happening there? Is that understood? That's about the one that contains a particular text, and you have to type that text correctly for it to highlight it for you. And then in terms of date, a date occurring. Of course, from here you have to know that this one has to work with date. So if you are doing anything there, let me just modify some dates. Let me say this is 12 for December. This is 11 for November, and maybe this is 10. So if I highlight this column right now, go to my conditional formatting, highlight sales rules, and then I click a date occurring yesterday. If you see, sorry, let me cancel it and bring it here. Let me reduce it, so at least we can see more. Conditional formatting, dates occurring yesterday. There's no date, yesterday's date here. That's why you don't see anything. If I click here and select today, nothing. Tomorrow, nothing. But if I come to like last week or the last 7 days, you can see that this 7 highlighted here is a date that is within the last 7 days. If I click last week, if there is any date for last week, it will highlight it. If I say this week, no date that is this week that is among all these or these dates that are here. If I say next week, of course there is none. If I say last month, you can see 15th November right there. So it depends on what you want to do. And remember, this color, you can choose any of them. It depends on what you want. And you can also customize them as we've done before. So I can just click and say, okay, let this date be red border. And click my OK. You can see the border right here. Hopefully that is understood, class. Do we understand? So finally, in that highlight sales rules, we have duplicate values here. Now, this is very important for data cleaning. We use this very function to spot and remove duplicate values in a data set. Because if you are given a data set, for you to get useful results or good results from the data set, there is something we call data cleaning, right? So if we have duplicate data in a data set, at the end it may not give us the real results that we want, though it will give you the result, but then that data may be incorrect because a lot of the values that you have there are duplicates, right? Let's say, for example, I am given a data set of maybe items or names. Let's use names and age. And I have the first name Lucy, age 25. I have Samuel, age 32. I have Christian, age 30. And then I have another Lucy, age 25. I have Peace, 23 years. And I have Queen, say 19 years. I have John, 20 years. Now, in this data, if we have this kind of data and it's a large data set, you may not be able to spot out these duplicate values, right? If you look at this place, you'll see that Lucy, 25, is the same Lucy, 25. Maybe the person that entered this data entered it twice, right? So before you can make good meaning out of this data, you have to do away with duplicates. So if I highlight this data set right now and come to my conditional formatting, highlight sales rules, and then come to duplicate values, you immediately see that it will spot out the values that are exactly the same in this data set and highlight them. All right, so because I want my data to be unique, we will learn how to remove duplicate data or values in a data set like this. But this one is just to show you that, look, we have duplicate data or values in this data set. Do something about it. I hope you understand. All right. Let me manually delete this one of the duplicates. I can right click, highlight it, right click, and then I delete. It will ask me if I am shifting the cell to the left. I can shift to the left or maybe upward. So I can just click OK, and immediately you see that that highlight is off. Now, why you still have this space here is because the two cells that were at the right hand side shifted to the left. The best one to use there is to shift cells upward. So if I highlight here, right click and delete, I will pick shift cells up so that Peace will shift and occupy that position with these other ones. So this is what it does. You can see that Peace has shifted up and occupies that position. And you can see that immediately in this data set, that highlight is off because there are no more duplicate data or values in this data set. I hope you understand. That's about highlight sales rules. And apart from these duplicate values, you can go for more. And this is where you customize it, right? You can customize anything here. We will come back to this conditional formatting. There are a lot of complex things you can do here using formula or formulas, right? But for now, we are just to understand what it does. But you can do more from this place. Just like I said, you can customize this place. So right now, I can customize my data set. Also, I can bring in some rules or highlights of different colors, just like I did before, right? In this, using this place. So it's a cell value where you have this cell, edit the rule description. So I can say, okay, cell value greater than, let me highlight the whole data here. Come down here, rule. Cell value greater than, is it greater than that I want to use? Can be between, not between, equal to, not equal to, greater than, less than, any one of them. It depends on what you want to do, right? So let's leave the greater than that was there and say, okay, greater than 20. So I type my 20 here and I say, okay, I want to format it in such a way that that place will be highlighted with yellow. And I can change the font and make it bold. I can format the font to be bold, and I can change the font color to be, say, something, this black text, this very one, right? Black text highlight, text one lighter than 35%, okay? And I click my OK. Now look at what's there, and I click OK. Can you see what is happening here? So that is how you can customize that. You can do even more using that conditional formatting. Now, apart from that one, we can check our data to see the top 10 items, right? Let me come down to this place. I duplicated this data. You know, if you check, you will see they are the same thing. Well, let me just copy this column, then paste somewhere here. If I want to know the top 10 highest value here, I can highlight this place and then I come to top 10. How do you want to highlight it? Is it with red or whatever? You can click OK, or you can customize it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Top 10 of these, of the highest values that we have in this data set here are highlighted. You can do same. Top 10% is almost the same thing. We'll do the same thing as this, right? Look at it, top 10%. Highlight with yellow. In the same way, you can check the numbers, right? The bottom ones, that means when we talk about bottom, those ones are the least one. We're talking about the least ones now. Top 10 has to do with the greatest one. Top 10 that are greater in value. So the bottom ones, let's see. It shows the least values that are in this data set. This is very important to us because it shows you a lot of things. Above average. Now what this one does is to automatically take the average of these data sets and then highlight the ones that are above average. I can say, okay, let me customize your colors or your font, your fill, maybe to something like this. Can you see what is happening? So these numbers, these ones highlighted, are above average, right? You can see these ones are above average. Let me copy and paste again. And highlight it. Please, when I say highlight or highlight, it means the same thing as select. So that's the same way you can do below average and so on, it will highlight. So more rules, the same, it takes you to the same place. You can customize it the way you want it. The next one is what we call, or what Excel calls data bars. And it does exactly what it says. Now the bars are intensified depending on the numbers, right? You can choose any of this. You see what it does? So for these ones that are gradient, you will see that it starts from a darker color to a lighter color, right? So whichever one, any of them you want to use, you can use it. If I drag this, you can see that it plots, it shows like a bar chart, right? Horizontal bar charts. On this data value. So it plots it according to the number you have here. And if you look at the data, mere just looking at the data, you can see the highest number. You can see them here and so on. So this gives you a glance of what is happening in the data. So look at what it does. I'm taking it gradually so that you understand. Is there anybody that doesn't understand what we're doing? All right. So do you understand what we are doing?
I understand, but I've tried it with my system. It's not really giving me what I'm seeing here.
Don't worry. I will give you this data set to try it by yourself. I'll give you the data set.
Okay.
If you did it right, it should give you the same results that I have. Okay, so the next one there is color scales. These color scales, it does almost the same thing. It still gives us an insight into our data set, right? Let me paste this one here. Conditional formatting, we've talked about this. You can also customize, remember. So let's talk about this. The same thing, the intensity of the color increases. The color becomes darker when the number is bigger, when the value is bigger, and lighter with smaller values, right? Each of these, that is what it does. So if you understand this, looking at your data set, you will quickly know what is happening in that data set. Especially when you use the same color like this. This one will also show you that, look, the green ones are values that are greater, or some of the greatest values that you have in that data set. Then the yellow ones are the ones that are in between. The red ones are the lower values that you have in that data set. So that is what this color scales does. So when you understand this, when looking at your data set or using this conditional formatting on them, you can quickly, deduce what is happening in the data set before you can go ahead and do more complex things with the data. That's for that one. Again, let me copy it down here and paste it again right here. This time around, let's look at icon sets, right? The same thing the other one does is the same thing that this does, but this one is using arrows. Anyone that is lower, you will see the red arrow there. The ones that are in between, you will see the yellow or orange arrow there. And the ones that are good, that the values are higher, you will see the green arrows right there. This also gives you an insight into your data, right? That these ones with red arrow pointing down shows maybe a decrease in revenue. The ones in green shows you an increase in revenue. Then the ones that are pointing to the right, which is the yellow or the orange color, shows you that these ones are just intermediary values, right? So assuming you assign different names, as I mentioned before to this, you quickly see the people that are really bringing in revenue. And so if you want to give them bonus, you know the people you can give bonus. That's the green ones who have really performed well, maybe during the month. Assuming it was a supermarket or maybe a mall. Now you can also create a new rule. You can create a new rule here. Remember this place? It still takes us back to this place. So the same way you customize your rule, you can also create a new rule right here. The new rule can take 2 colors, 3 colors, data bar, icon set. It depends. It depends on what you want to do, right? Depends on what you want to do. So I can say, okay, let it be 2 colors, right? And this is the lowest value and the highest value. Of course, highest value is always indicated by green color. That's like if you are gaining, it should be green. If you are losing, it should be red. But you can customize the colors the way you want it. It can be dark green, and then maybe this one dark red. Can be green or red, right? Let's say green or red. And then you click your OK. Now you can see what is happening here in this data set. If you check, you may not be able to see the data set very well. It is not visible. The data here is not visible. So one of the ways you can make it visible is to just select it and change the font color to white. Because if you have a darker background, you need a lighter font color or font color so that your data can show. Remember the icon set. The icon sets, you can use any of these, right? You can use it. I only use one here. You can use any of them. You can see what is happening there. You can use any of them. Do you understand? You can use any of these ones, right? So that's that. So I created a new rule right here with these background colors. I created a new rule. You can also, let me use this very data set to demonstrate this one. Let me just give it maybe this. So all this formatting, if you want to clear them, you can just clear it here. Clear rules from selected cells. It will only clear rule from this very one. All the rules applied to this one will be removed. But if I go and click, if I select clear rules from entire sheet, every rule that I apply to any column or any data set in this place, everything will return to normal. Do you understand? That's what this one does. And I don't want to do that now. Now, the last thing there is manage rules. You can actually create and manage your rules here. For example, if I do, say, selection of this, when I come to my manage rule, you can see the icon set here. Right? So if I click here, I can create a new rule from here. I can edit the existing one. Right? So instead of using this arrow, I can select something else from here. Do you understand? I can select any other one from this place. Remember, you have all these in that conditional formatting where you have the icons. So I can actually management of these rules and these icons is just for you to come here and modify it to suit your purpose. So that's what manage rules is all about. Just come here and modify it to what you want it to be. Customize it for yourself, or customize it depending on what your client wants, right? So if you can do this, and the person will say, no, I don't like this one. I need so, I need so. So you can come here, okay, which of them do you need to use? And the person says, okay, I want to use a circle with X, for the list values and so on. You can come here and select and change it. Just come here. This is the list value when it is less than 33 or so. Come here, select what the person wants and click. And then this one, you can, anything depends, you can say, okay, I need this green check symbol. You click it, and at the end, you click OK. And that rule will be applied to, that's your data set, right? So let me use this let me use this data set as an example. Let me give it icon set of this traffic light. So, and the person says, okay, my client says, I don't like traffic lights. Can you use something else for me? Okay, I now said, okay, which of them do you like? and the person says, okay, uh, I just double click that place. Let me do it again. Here, you can edit this rule, or if you double click anywhere here, it will still take you to that place. You can also delete rule here. You can use this for duplicate rule. You can create a rule for duplicate rule here. So I can edit here, and the person says, okay, I need this circle with this check inside. Then for this one, the yellow one with exclamation sign inside, and the last one is this one with X inside, and I can click my OK and click OK. You see now that this one has changed to the latest ones I just created, to the latest rule I just created. So all these are to show you or give you an insight into your data. I hope that is understood.